You, a normal person, awaken one day with magical talents. Talents that could benefit your everyday life. To begin, you are able to cast level 1 Dungeons and Dragons spells. Which ones would you take? Today, we are talking about which level 1 spells would be the most useful in everyday life. I've done this before with cantrips, and I wanted to branch out into spells. So, we're not going to be taking any combat spells today. I would assume that we aren't fighting people, and we're not taking the route of becoming the villain. I will also not be using Bane or Bless either because they are mostly combat oriented. So the first spell that I wanted to take is Alarm. I think this could be pretty useful. So you choose a door, window, or an area within 30 feet that's no larger than a 20-foot cube. And for 8 hours, an alarm alerts you whenever a tiny or larger creature touches or enters the warded area. You can designate creatures that won't set off the alarm, and then you can decide if the alarm is mental or audible. A mental alarm would alert you with a ping if you're within a mile of the warded area. So this is just very good for security reasons. I mean, you can cast your level 1 spell a day, so if it goes off, you can recast it the next day. That's not bad. I do like the idea of this. This is pretty much just a security alarm. And then animal friendship, I think could also be useful. This is just convincing a beast with an intelligence under 4 that you mean it no harm. This would be really good if you're going into like an animal control field. So if you're on animal control and you meet like a squirrel that's infesting somebody's attic, I would say raccoon, but they might have an intelligence higher than 4. But is there a raccoon stat block in D&D? Because we could actually figure this out. Yes, and they have a 5 intelligence. So that's not gonna work out for us. Oh, this one has it as a 4, so the other one must not have been official. And this one has it as a 2. I don't know, man. So there's a chance raccoons are too smart for this. We don't need to spend more time on that. I don't know why I spent that much time. And then in the same vein is Beast Bond, which is creating a telepathic link with one beast that you touch that is friendly or charmed by you. So you could cast Animal Friendship and then cast Beast Bond. So the link is active while you and the beast are within line of sight, and they can understand your telepathic messages to them and can communicate simple emotions and concepts back. This lasts up to 10 minutes and can be fun if you're hanging out with like an animal. I mean, you could meet a horse, you could talk to a cow, you could just vibe with something, or you could talk to your cats and see how they feel. I don't think they can necessarily talk back, but you can at least figure out how they feel about what you're saying. I thought Catapult would be great, but the weight limit is 5 pounds. So you wouldn't be able to just immediately break the shot put record. So when I was making this list, I Googled the spell Catapult. And then I'm like, oh, that's a pretty far distance. And then I immediately Googled the shot put world record. And I'm like, oh, Catapult breaks the world record. It's not by much, but Catapult just breaks the world record for shot put. And then I Googled how much does a shot put weigh and realized immediately Catapult cannot break the world record for shot put. So, I mean, we're just not going to take that one. Charmed could be great if not for the last sentence. So the target will always know after the spell ends that they were charmed by you. So that kind of messes it up. Command doesn't seem as useful as I initially thought because it can only be used for specific purposes. So you can cause someone to approach you, drop something, flee, fall prone, or stop moving. And a lot of those don't feel like they would be super useful to me in my everyday life, at least. Comprehend languages might be one of the best choices. If I could only pick one level 1 spell in this scenario, it might be comprehend languages. So for an hour, you can understand the literal meaning of any spoken language that you can hear. You can also understand any written language that you see, but you have to touch the surface the words are written on. So if you're reading a book in another language, you would have to be touching the book. Create or destroy water would be really good because you can create up to 10 gallons of clean water in an open container. Alternatively, you can cause water to fall in a 30-foot cube to extinguish flames, and you can destroy up to 10 gallons of water in an open container, or destroy fog in a 30-foot cube. This could be great for getting 30 gallons of water quickly. This would be enough to give a decent number of people water. 30 gallons is a lot of water, especially since it says clean water, so you should be able to drink it. And then, just if you need water for anything, you can just spawn 30 gallons. Even if you're just washing your car, you can just get 30 gallons of water. Or you can just destroy water quickly. For example, I had my sump pump go out recently, and it would have been great to just be able to make 30 gallons of water disappear. That would have been sick. And then you could put out fires. I mean, that's a pretty big one. You can just put out fires with this, which is nice. Cure wounds would be good because you can restore hit points, which could be good if someone gets injured. The same applies for healing ward. I don't think these are as good as like lay on hands would be if you're a paladin, because that cures disease. And cure wounds and lay on and healing ward don't seem to cure disease. Disguise self could be useful for getting into places you want, imitating other people, or just entertaining people. You could do some street magic or something with it. There aren't many uses for it that I can think of that aren't illegal though. So, I mean, that has to play into this a little bit. I don't think I would take Disguise Self for that reason. Expeditious Retreat allows you to take the dash action as a bonus action, which would just make you faster if you need that. I mean, it could always be good. Featherfall would allow you to fall from great heights without taking damage. This could be good for people that are walking at high elevations, like linemen, roofers, rock climbers, that dude that changes those really high up light bulbs. It could also just make it faster to get somewhere below you. Like, say you're hiking and you go pretty high up a mountain, and you notice there's a cliff that if you step off the cliff, you can get to your car pretty quickly. And your legs are tired. You've been hiking for 3 hours. You've had a lot of bug bites. You forgot your bug spray at home. So you're really wanting to just get to your car for a little bit of relief. Just get home, take a nap, maybe eat a meal that's way too big. So you just walk over to the cliff and step off. And Featherfall would just allow you to do that. And you could get back to your car right away and no longer have to hike. I don't understand why people hike. I say that I've gone hiking before, it was okay. But I always get a lot of bug bites. I never remember bug spray. And even when I do, I think the mosquitoes just like my blood. But I do think Featherfall has some good uses there. I don't think it's really the best option out of the level 1 spells, but I do really like it. Good Berry would be great, but not necessarily for the 1 HP of healing. One berry can provide enough nourishment to sustain a creature for 1 day, and you can have up to 10 appear. They lose their potency if they aren't consumed in 24 hours, but this could be good for just feeding a small number of people, or even like stray cats. I mean, I don't think cats are really supposed to eat berries, but if you see an animal out there that looks like it's starving, Good Berry would be able to help with that. Heroism could be good if you have a high stress job. So if you're a police officer or firefighter going into a dangerous scenario, it could be good to become immune to being frightened for 1 minute. In my case, I have a bat problem at my house. I've been dealing with it for a couple of months now. I've had people come out, I've spent an insane amount of money on it. And every time a bat gets into the house, I am frightened. I think I have an issue with bats now. I might have a fear of bats now. So, this would be nice if a bat gets in my house. cast heroism on myself, put on my bite resistant gloves that I bought for this scenario, just run in and grab the bat. I think that would make this a lot easier on me. So I might take that spell if I had an option. Silent image could be a fun party trick. You create an image of an object, a creature, or some other visible phenomenon that is no larger than a 15-foot cube. And you can move it as an action to anywhere within 60 feet. So pretty much it's just a really good minor illusion. So I think this is a good thing if you just want a party trick, which if you get an option between all of these spells, I don't think that's necessarily the best option. And then going back to animals for a bit, speak with animals just allows you to talk to animals for 10 minutes. I just want to talk to animals. I would love to have a conversation with my cats. My kitten is a menace, and I would like to know what's going through his head sometimes. He acts like he's never eaten every time I see him. And then I'm a big fan of like raccoons, and I want to tell a horse that I don't like horses. I'm not a big fan of horses. And I think our last spell on here, which this video has been faster than I expected it to be, is Unseen Servant. I think this would be great. It lasts for an hour. I would personally use the servant to fold my clothes and clean the dishes. Maybe even pour my drinks if I'm feeling fancy, or bring food from the kitchen over to the couch where I can eat it. But Unseen Servant seems like it would be at least top 2 for me. I think for me it would be between Unseen Servant and Comprehend Languages. Unseen Servant I think might be more useful for me in my everyday life. I can just summon a servant for an hour. It can do all of my folding of the clothes and everything, which is maybe the thing I'm worst about. And then it can help prepare dinner and serve drinks and stuff like that. But Comprehend Languages seems like it could just be incredibly useful. If you're just talking to somebody that speaks Spanish and you don't speak Spanish, this would be really good. If you're trying to read something and you don't have a translator app with you, this would be really good. I do think in 2025, Comprehend Languages isn't as useful as it would have been even a few years ago, just because of all of the technology that's come out to help translate languages and translate text. This isn't as useful as it used to be. But let's be honest, everybody's used like Google Translate once and the translation wasn't very good, so it's not bad either. But that's my list of level 1 spells that I think would be useful. Let me know if you think I left anything off of this list. I do think it would be so fun to get spellcasting. And a lot of level 1 spells, looking back, are just very combat oriented, but I think these would all be really good options. And then also let me know in the comments which spell you would take. Out of all of the options I gave, which spell would you personally take? Because I always am curious about what people would use these for, why they would take each spell. Even in D&D, I'm curious about why people take spells. Other than that, I hope everybody is having an amazing day. And until next time, guys, peace.